Now we have our last presenter, Professor Geun-Ja Yu. She will look at the role and characteristics of royal female patrons in the creation of Buddha statues during the reign of King Sukjong in Joseon Dynasty. She currently teaches at Dongguk University, and she studied iconography of Gandhara Buddha statue and received her PhD degree. She has published many papers on the Buddha statue and the objects that have been enshrined in the statues. So after her presentation, we will take time for panel discussion. So now, why don't we hear from Professor Yu? As introduced, I am Geun-Ja Yu from Dongguk University, the last presenter of the day. I think you must all be very exhausted after a long day, so I will try to be as brief as possible. I have comprised my presentation into 6 parts, but I would mainly like to focus on how the royal women of Joseon Dynasty and how they involved in Buddhist affairs, and I will make inferences based on records. The king who had most scandals in Joseon is King Sukjong. So, ironically, the first queen and the second queen In-hyun and the third queen In-won and his concubine Hibin-chang has their tombs. So I will look at the relationship between Sukjong and these 4 women. In fact, consort Sukbin Choi's grave is a bit located at a distance. And in the back side of this picture, you can see the grave of the third queen. So Sukjong was a king who abdicated his queen and reinstated the queen In-hyun. So I think he especially had affections for Queen In-hyun. So now they lay together forever. And Hibin Chang's tomb was not located, but in the 60s it was found in the Seongnam city. So now here, with a bit of a distance, she is put to sleep with people that she was involved in a complicated relationship. I think out of all of the women of Sukjong, Sukbin Choi was the ultimate winner, who is the mother of King Yeongjo. So, her tomb is at a 15-minute walking distance from the Bogwangsa Temple in Paju. So I would look at how these people interacted with each other as part of the royal family, and also how it was reflected in the Buddhist projects. Sukbin Choi has a lot of records of her remaining, as she was the mother of King Yeongjo. I published these books on research on the consecrated objects in Buddhist statues and the Buddhist statues that were sponsored by the royal court. I published these as an attempt to shed a new light into the studies of Buddhist statues. And today I will especially put a focus on the role of the royal women. So please refrain from taking photos of these pictures. There is a temple named Mitasa, which is for female monastics in the Oksu-dong area of Seoul. In the year 2020, the chief monk oversaw all of my research work that took place at this temple. So I just briefly wanted to introduce to you in this opportunity the kind of research that I was involved in at this temple. And 어린 석보 that was made during King Sejo has been consecrated in the Buddhist statue. And I have been deeply involved in the study of enshrined objects, but for the first time, the chief monk wanted to figure out the structure of the container of ceremonial items. So she did not want to disclose this information until now. I only briefly mentioned the composition and structure in my paper, but today I am disclosing this in front of you. So for 1 month, it took as long as 1 month to really analyze the structure of the ceremonial container. This is an object that has not been heavily researched yet, but this container was found in 3 of the royal tombs. So I think this object merits further study, which I will conduct in the future. So today, my presentation is about King Sukjong. Well, he was involved in many scandals, but among the kings, only second to his own son, Yeongjo, he reigned for the longest time, so he recorded a lot of achievements. Among many achievements, I will mention how Sukjong strengthened his rule by leveraging his wives. That is the transitional politics. In 1680, in 1689, and 1694, these were years when turning points happened between Sukjong and Queen In-hyun. And at this time, the Western people and the Southern people were kept in check, and Sukjong used his wives as a political tool to do so. And these women willingly became a medium of politics of Sukjong. They sacrificed themselves. You must be familiar with these characters with Korea's historical dramas. Dongi was a very popular drama. The poster is in the middle. And who was the main heroine? It was Sukbin Choi, the consort of Sukjong. So what I intend to convey today is summarized in this one slide. Sukjong had 3 wives, namely queens, and 6 consorts. And the 3 queens were all from the best noble families of the West people, and Yeongbin Kim, out of the 6 consorts, was the granddaughter of Kim Hwang, so she was from a very noble family. And Hibin Jang and Sukbin Choi, who are often starring in historical dramas, well, they were from lowly class families. Sukbin Choi is from the lowest rank family. But she gave birth to son Yeong-in-gun, who eventually was enthroned. So I think Sukbin Choi was the ultimate winner out of all these women. Queen In-hyun, well, people prayed for her soul to reach the Pure Land by making the Jeonsang, which is the Buddha statue. And in 1688, the Myeongbujeon Jeonsang at Buryongsa in Uljin was commissioned. And for Hibin Chang, there are no records of any statues commissioned by her. For Sukbin Choi, she prayed for In-hyun's soul by commissioning Gwakwangjeon Jeonsang at Hwaomsa. Well, for Myeongbin Park, she had her son Yeolyeong-gun, but Yeolyeong-gun died at a very young age. So, well, among the Buddha statues, the statue which is currently at Bongwonsa used to be at Yangpyeong, but it was moved to the Bongwonsa in Seoul. The 3-year mourning for In-hyun ended in 1703, so the statue that was made in 1704 probably was more related to the first year anniversary of Myeongbin Park's death. And there are 3 different Amita Buddha statues in the Mitasa, and they were probably commissioned for praying for the souls of women who passed away with no descendants, such as Consort Soyi-yu. So probably the Sangung, who served Soyi-yu, commissioned this Amita Buddha statue for Mitasa at 1707, the year of Soyi-yu's death. And another key figure is Yeongbin Kim. And we can see how Yeongbin Kim was a close supporter of Sukbin Choi. Sukbin Choi didn't have many sons. She had Yeoningun and Yeongjo, who eventually become king. And Hibin Chang, who had a son, also was the major rival of Sukbin Choi. So this is the background of the commissioning of many Buddha statues in Sukjong's reign, and I will especially look at Gakhwangjeon and its Buddha statue at Hwaomsa. So Buryongsa statue was commissioned for Princess Myeongin, and another statue was for the 3-year mourning of In-hyun, and another was related to the first year anniversary of Myeongbin Park's death, and the Amitabha statue at the Mitasa was for So-i-yu. So the 3 Buddha statues of very different styles are all found at Bongwonsa, and this was probably commissioned by the Sangung who served So-i-yu. So the first wife died at 1680, and that is when the West people gained power, and In-hyun, who is from the West people family, becomes queen in 1701, and after she dies, since she left without giving birth to a son, In-won is enthroned as queen. But Hibin Chang gained the favor of Sukjong, but was banished from the palace because Empress Dowager Myeongseong was opposed to taking her in as a consort. But once Empress Myeongseong was dead, Hibin Chang came back to the palace. So once In-hyun is abdicated, Hibin Chang is enthroned as queen. So the power shifts from the West people to the South people, and this is called the Gisa transitional politics. And the one who was most threatened by such change was Sukbin Choi, because she didn't know when Hibin Chang would kill her and her son. So what happens is Hibin Chang frames In-hyun, and Sukbin Choi tells on Hibin Chang's such maneuver to Sukjong, and Sukbin Choi gives birth to Yeongjo and becomes Sukjong's favorite. So in 1694, another transition happens of the regime, which is called the Kapsul Hwanguk, and In-hyun is reinstated as queen. And after death of In-hyun, Hibin Chang actually dies at 1701, before In-hyun's death. And Yongbin Kim, who was a selected consort, she was a supporter of Queen In-hyun. When In-hyun was abdicated, she was banished from the palace with her, but she came back to the palace with Queen In-hyun, and she was close with Sukbin Choi. So Yongbin Kim and Queen In-hyun both supported enthronement of Yeongjo, who was Sukbin Choi's son. So this was the historical background, and the biggest issue in the academia was that the commission text of the Buddha statue at Gakwangjeon is only recorded, but the original text is not found. But it is deemed to be similar to the offering text. So there is the offering text in the front, and then it is followed by a list of patrons. So the 3-year mourning was 27 months. So is the 3-year mourning of Queen In-hyun and the timing of the offering coincides. So the Sangyangmun, the offering text, was written in 1702, and Taepeng-yu, who was from the South People faction, wrote this text. And the great patron is named as Yeoningun, and it wishes for the longevity of Sukbin Choi, and it also prays for the longevity of Yeoningun. So Gakwangjeon and its Buddha statue were closely associated with Yeoningun and Sukbin Choi. And the Hwamsa Gakwangjeon, when it was being built, it started construction in 1699, which is the year when Sukbin Choi becomes ranked, promoted to Sukbin, and Yeoning-gun, her son, was selected as the crown prince. And Hwang is a name that was bestowed by Sukjong, and the sign was written by Lee Jin-hyu, who was best known for calligraphy in 1703. Lee Jin-hyu is one of the South People faction members, and Hwamsa Gakwangjeon Buddha statue is important because, according to the 오전 범읍집, 증청 목벽 다보, 문수 보현 관음 지적, which are all of the Buddhist deities, are found in the commission text. We don't have the original text as of now, but the remaining records all mention the figures of the royal family, and Queen In-hyun is recorded as late In-hyun, and Myeongbin Park is also recorded as dead. And So-ii-yu wished for a son, but she was not able to give birth to a son, and she passed away. So these are all part of the records. So the Gakwangjeon Buddha statue is closely reflecting the political struggles, and Jung-myung, a princess who is the daughter of Seonjo, and her grandsons are listed as the patrons of the Buddha statue, and Queen In-hyun's father and grandfather's souls are prayed for to reach the Pure Land. And the sister of Sukjong, Myeon Princess's father-in-law, Odu-in, also died when Queen In-hyun was abdicated, and Odu-in's son-in-law are listed as patrons of the statue. So this all hints that the figures who are related to the abdication of Queen In-hyun passed away, so the descendants patrons to pray for their souls to reach the Pure Land. So at the first anniversary of someone's death, 1 month prior to the date of death, the project is completed. So the 상궁s, or court ladies who served Princess Myeongan, patroned this specific project. And what was important here was that 상궁s lived in Seoul, Hamwonjeon. And also, it is noteworthy that Sanggungs were the great donors to make this Buddhist statue. The same situation goes for Hwangsa. So you need to keep note that these contain very realistic and practical wishes, because the court ladies who are titled Sanggung are officials of the imperial court, and consorts and queens, when they enter the court, they sometimes bring along their sanggungs. So Queen In-hyun, when she was abdicated, sanggungs wanted to follow her out, and she only wanted to keep sanggungs who are from the secular world. And she told sanggungs that after her death, they should go back to their secular homes and lead a good life. So those wishes are reflected in the text. And the same goes for the Amitabha statue at Mitasa. Sanggung Kim Kwi-up and Sanggung Kim Jong-jong are recorded to have led this Buddhist project. From 1668 to 1707, Sanggung Bang No-jong, whose name is in red here, continuously involves in Buddhist affairs, and those who were involved in Gakwangjeon projects are also involved in the Bongwonsa project, and Kim Jong-jong, you can see, is involved to pray for the soul of So Il-yu. So what I'm trying to emphasize is that creation of Buddha statues and the involvement of royal women had meaning. They wanted to pray for the souls of those who were sacrificed due to the political struggles, and to protect her son, Yeongin-kun, Sukbin Choi partnered with different queens and consorts, and the Buddha statue that is related to Sukbin Choi is the Chonsang at Gakwangjeon. Thank you.